Welcome to the Pageant Gal Podcast, the show where powerhouse women like you learn to own your confidence and leadership, dominate the pageant stage, and even turn your pageant passion and experience into a thriving business. I'm your host, Maria, the Pageant Gal, a 5-time title holder and full-time international elite pageant and business coach. Welcome, Queen, to the Pageant Gal Podcast. My name is Maria, the Pageant Gal, your pageant and business coach, and I'm here helping ambitious women like you conquer pageants, business, and life like the powerful queen that you are. So whether you're here for tips, inspiration, or to listen to some of my own stories of success to lead you on your journey to yours, you're in the right place. So keep your chin up, put your crown on, and let's dive right on in. Welcome officially to the first episode of the Pageant Gal Podcast, something that has been long awaited for many of my gals. And if you know me, you know that when I have an idea, I want it done like yesterday. And while the thought of a podcast has definitely crossed my mind before, we've just had so many bigger things that we've been doing on our over 8 years of pageantry, 6 years of coaching now, journey to winning titles, crown sashes, and helping women do the same. But something felt different about this year. Something felt different going into 2025. And it started with a vision board retreat that I went on, that the idea of sharing my journey, our journey of growing the Pageant Gal, of my own story, of helping so many more women across the globe achieve your dreams of success on and off the stage, came flooding in, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. And so in our very first episode, it only makes sense. We are starting something brand new, a new part of this legacy, for me to go back and share where this all really came from. Not just why we're doing a podcast, not just why we're doing coaching. Trust me when I say there's going to be episodes about stories, about my own pageant experience, business experiences, tips, tricks, everything in between. Good luck. Once you get me starting to talk about pageantry, you will not be able to get me to shut up. So there will be no shortage of episodes, but I wanted to go back to the beginning and really set the tone and context for why the Pageant Gal Podcast? Why are we here? Why pageantry? How did this all come to be when 8 years ago, I didn't even know I would be doing a pageant? Nobody in my life was doing pageants. Nobody looked at me like the type of woman who was living as the queen of her life. Yet now we have this international, well-known brand, hundreds of women that work with me each month, thousands that have worked with me over my career, local, national, international title holder, business owner, retired nurse. This is insane that we are here together. And I know that if you are listening, you know that you're meant for something bigger. And you know that there's something big awaiting you on the other side of what's likely a pageant title, a crown and sash, a competition, whatever it is that you're working towards. And so I want to go back to the beginning because I think it can be so easy to see something like the Pageant Gal Podcast, Maria the Pageant Gal, judging, coaching, winning, and forget that I started a very long time ago, somebody who knew nothing, somebody who nobody knew anything about. So let's go back to the beginning and set the story. Now, for those of you that know, and I kind of alluded to it, I was a nursing student. And like many, when I was 18 years old, I had to pick a career I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Done, done, done. Terrifying feeling. And one thing about me is that I've always known that I was not meant to work for somebody else. So I don't know that going down the path of nursing was like the best choice because, you could always like start your own nursing business, but I kind of always knew that I wanted to have a very flexible schedule. I always knew I didn't love like I wouldn't say I was like a bad person or anything, but I just didn't like to follow the rules, and I just didn't care about other people's businesses or jobs or corporations more than I cared about my own passions in life, but I didn't know where that was leading me. So nursing it was. And like many throughout my journey in university, I was hanging out with friends. I had an average relationship. I would go out on the weekends, but that was pretty much it for my life. Like Maria, the Pageant Gal, glam, beauty, all of that. I loved makeup. And I would say I wish I liked the idea of dressing up, but if you look back at photos and please go do so to put all of this into even more context. I was very much so 21 years old, a third-year nursing student, still in my awkward teenage years. Okay, that's what life was doing to me when I was 21 years old. So again, nothing in my life path was directing me to a stage in any way. And I remember having this default thought throughout nursing school where I just thought to myself, this is it. Like, as much as I would love to have more, and I deeply did feel like there was more to life, I remember feeling like I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to one day get married. I'll have a family and I'll find a job that I mostly like. But then the rest of my time, I'll be just watching TV, maybe playing soccer like I do on the weekends. And then I'll be about 80%, content and 20% sacrificing what could really be. And that was a default thought I had many, many times in university, like 21 years old. And that's what I was thinking. Like life was over pretty much. Like my life path had been set before me. And I wonder how many of you feel that. Because I know if you're listening to the first episode of the Pageant Gal podcast, you know that you're meant for something bigger. And maybe you've had that feeling like life just feels like it's written before you, no matter how young or old you are. And I want you to know that the story didn't end there. That was the beginning of a story that I had no idea was about to unfold. So Maria was a nursing student. She didn't really know what else was happening. She was going out with friends. How the heck did pageants come to be? Now, it all started. Now, for those of you listening, right now, this is being recorded in January of 2025. So it was almost exactly 8 years ago that it was February. It was February at the time. We were just about to go into our third year nursing winter reading week. And there was a snowstorm on a Friday. This is how clear it was in my mind. There was a snowstorm on a Friday. And me and my girlfriends, my two girlfriends, were sitting together and we were like, F this. Like, this is awful snow. Are you kidding me? We're like, we're young, we're hot. Like, we should be on the beach somewhere in Mexico. And we were in class joking about this. And then each of us started going, but what about if we really did this? Okay, I could make this story so long. 3 days later, we were on a plane to Mexico for the week, for spring or for winter reading week, and having the time of our lives. You can imagine, we're on the beach, it's sunny, we're getting tan, we're having a good time. We're still being good girls, right? Like, we're not being like too rambunctious, but we're enjoying ourselves. We're relaxing for a much, much, much needed week of relaxation. And it was when I came back that I wanted to go through the photos. Now, I was like still new to having a phone. I think I only had a phone for 2 years. So I had Instagram, but I wasn't actively posting on it a lot. I didn't have it wasn't a big thing for me back then. But still, you go away, you want to come back and check out the photos and then post about them. And I remember looking through every photo and just thinking, these are not good. And then there was one photo in particular that I came across and I remember looking at it. I was in my childhood bedroom. Again, at the time, we had just come back from our trip. School was back in session. And I saw a picture of a girl on a beach, smiling. Her hair was up in a bun. She had some, light clothes on. And I remember thinking, like, this is such an awkward photo. Like, this is not a good photo. Until it dawned on me that it was me. And it was like life and life's mission and the universe and whatever the heck you believe in came rushing through my body saying, Maria, this is not you. I truly did not recognize the person I saw in this picture. And then looking in my mirror, not recognizing the person that I saw, and all of these thoughts and feelings of, you're meant to be so much more. You don't have to settle. Life isn't meant to be average, started just flowing through me. And I don't know if you've ever had such a big epiphany in your life. Maybe that's what got you started in pageantry. Maybe that's how you went down a different area of your life. But this was so big and significant that it didn't just inspire, it really activated me to a point where I could never be that same person again, because I saw and I experienced a life that I was supposed to be living that I wasn't, all in a moment's time. And the biggest thing was that I had no idea where it was going to lead me to, but I just knew I wasn't going to go backwards. And little did I know how much was about to change. So I had no idea what that meant. But I knew I had this lingering feeling of, Maria, you are meant for more. You do not have to settle. You get to be 100% happy. And I didn't even know what that meant. But I knew it was a feeling. I knew it was a feeling that I wasn't currently possessing. I knew it was a feeling I wasn't even seeking out, because I was just like, oh, okay, like life's average. Like, this is just what it's meant to be. And I know that's what so many women come into my world experiencing. And then they're working together. Like, you feel more alive. You find yourself. You realize life isn't meant to settle for. And you're not meant to be, standing what I say, the backstage or out of the spotlight, watching somebody else be the main character, be the queen, be in the spotlight. When you know you're meant for that and you really own that, I say that the universe works in such fast ways for you. So I had no idea what the heck I was going to do, but I was like, we are still a queen in our own way, even though I didn't use the term queen back then, and we're going to figure it out. And so for the first 2 months, it looked like taking better care of myself. I would Google things like how to be more confident, how to, take better care of yourself. What is self-care? Journaling, meditation. Go Google it. I did it, okay, for 2 months straight. And because it slowly got into March and April, the weather was starting to warm up. I was able to go outside so much more. And at the time, because again, it was my third year of university, I had put on about 20, 25 extra pounds throughout my freshman year and my sophomore year. And simply through just going out for more walks, being more mindful about what I was eating, exercising a little bit better, going down this self-care journey, I ended up losing about 10, 15 pounds in the first couple of months. And I was not only feeling better, but I could see the change that was happening in my body. And so much more often, like as the days went on, I started looking in the mirror and really starting to connect with myself. And I remember starting to feel like the parts of the old me that were not even supposed to be a part of me were shedding. I could literally see it shedding energetically and physically. So I'm doing this day in and day out. My family could see that something was different about me. Even the person I was with at the time, the partner I was with at the time, could see that something was different about me. And everyone was kind of on edge because it was literally a 180. In one decision, I decided to be someone completely different. I was walking down one path, and then all of a sudden I said, nope. It wasn't like I changed my career or anything, but I just said, we're not being that person. We're going to be over here being this person. And I just decided. And it took the people in my life a little bit of time to understand, but the good thing is they were supportive, right? Nobody was against me taking better care of myself. But here's the thing, things have to fall off when you start to grow. When you start to grow into a bigger level, things start to fall off. So there were things I had to let go of, which we'll probably go into in a different episode. We don't got time for all of that. But I remember one day, I must have been in May of that time, so no more than 2, 3 months later, and I was scrolling on Facebook and I saw a post saying applications open for Miss Via Italia. And the director, it must have been an advertisement. I think it was somebody who actually shared it because I knew the title holder at the time. And it's funny because the director of that pageant is now the national director for Miss Universe Canada, which is insane how things grow from that time 8 years ago. And I remember looking at the requirements. I think it said you had to be over 16 years old, Italian descent. It's free to join. It's one day. Message the director to sign up, like text or call the director. And I thought, I'm going to do it. I didn't scroll past it. I just remember looking at it and my whole body, like I didn't say yes, my whole body in existence said yes. And then I dawned on what that yes meant. And I remember thinking, what is my family going to think? First of all, I remember thinking, am I even free on that day? Like I might have work. I have no idea. I had like 3 jobs at the time. I was kind of wild back then. Because again, I didn't just want one job full time. So I'm like, yeah, we'll get 3 jobs. Why not? So I remember I'm sitting in one room of my house and then I walk over into the other room. I think it was a Sunday night. It was definitely an evening time. And my family's watching TV. And I wait for a commercial to come on. And I said to them, Mom, Dad, you guys, I'm going to do something. I was like, I'm gonna sign up for a pageant. And expecting everybody's like jaws to drop and be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. You're nuts. This is insane. Kind of cool. I don't know what I thought, but I definitely expected shock on their face. Was actually, oh, okay, cool. When is it? Okay, we'll be there. Public can go watch. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, go do it. And I thought, oh, okay, like my family just gets it. Like they just are like, okay, they're going to support me. How amazing is that? And I know not everybody has just a chill, supportive, understanding family. Again, nobody in my family ever did pageants. Nobody. Nobody even spoke about pageants. Like, you know how girls are like, oh, I used to watch Miss Universe or Miss USA growing up. No, my family was never doing that. We never had pageants on the TV. I don't even think I ever watched a pageant prior to competing one, in full honesty, other than if there was like a trend, one of the really big like things that would happen in the pageant industry once a decade, but never watched any. But all of a sudden, Maria, the 21-year-old nurse decided she's going to compete, and everybody's on board. From that moment, I called the director, Sonny Borelli, who is just lovely, a ball of energy. If you talk to him, you know exactly what I mean. Or if you see him host on stage, exactly how he is on the phone. And I was hooked. I was hooked. I hadn't even competed. I hadn't even registered, right? I didn't even pay $1. It was free to join. But I knew that this was going to be something that changed my life forever, because I was working towards something that was new, that was uncomfortable, that the only option for me was to grow into a version of me and discover more of who I was that I didn't know before. So even before going to the first rehearsal, there was only one rehearsal, even before stepping on that stage, my life was transformed. And that to me is truly the beauty of pageantry. And there's that opportunity for each of you if you allow it to be that way. From the very beginning, it was never just, I'm going to wear a gown, I'm going to walk on stage, I'm going to hopefully answer a question, and then I really want to win. It was never that. It was, we can't go back to the way we've been living, because that just doesn't resonate with who we know we're meant to be. So we have to go forward and we have to see what's out there. Truly, in the beginning, it was just about self-discovery. Then, as I went on that stage, and the pageants in my area, the local competitions, are outdoors. Summer. It's hot. It's humid. You can imagine it's wild to do, but that's just the way it was. And again, I didn't know any better, so I just thought, okay. But this one was at an outdoor festival, so there must have been at least 500 people in the area where the stage was and around the street. Again, dozens of my family members gathered together, people all over from the community, from the town. We're up on this stage. The thought of it just a few months ago, saying, I don't know this person in a picture, to being up on a stage in front of hundreds of people in my community, in front of my family, exposing myself, showing myself, like being vulnerable, being judged and open to all of it, and like being hungry for it because I knew what it meant in a deeper way. Like that feeling was addicting, so addicting. And I know you know the feeling. Hello. That's why, when do pageant women ever really retire? And as I walked on that stage, and I could do a whole story about this competition because already there was so much in this, but ended up ending the night. I stood in the top 3. I was the second runner-up out of 11 women, and I won the Miss Congeniality Award. And I remember that was like my biggest goal back then, because I thought if I could be Miss Congeniality, I could be Sandra Bullock, and therefore life is complete. So that's really all I wanted, and I was really happy. But then to also be in the top 3, there were 11 delegates, 11 or 12 delegates. I just remember feeling like I was on top of the world. And I got off the stage and I greeted my family, and there were some other pageant women there. And by that time, I had signed up for the next competition already, which was Miss Tecumseh, and you know that journey. Well, so many more podcast episodes are coming up. But the whole idea is that I knew my life was going to be different. And I knew it wasn't just going to be different for me. It was going to be different for my family, who was there with me, celebrating me, seeing me up on this stage. And as you'll come to know, that's truly how I embark on everything in my life. That it's not just going to change my life, it's going to change all of our lives. So bridging that into the significance now of being a full-time pageant coach, an international national title holder, and now host of the Pageant Gal Podcast, I want you to think about what this means for you. And I want you to really think about the significance of what this gets to mean. Life gets to be so much bigger. And all it starts with an invitation. It just starts with an invitation, and for you to say yes. Not just, yeah, sure, I'll do it, but be a full yes. If you're in this industry, if you know that something else out there is waiting for you, that life is meant to be bigger, more beautiful, more fulfilling, don't just be a yeah, sure. Don't just be a maybe or whatever. Be a heck yes. Let it be a heart, body, soul yes. Because if it's not, you're not going to really go the distance and really see what life and pageantry has to offer you. You're not going to see what all of this amazing podcast is going to have to offer you. But if you're like, Maria, I'm all in. I love this. I'm here for it. I know I'm meant to be a queen. I have ambitions and dreams in pageantry, starting my own business, living a really big, fulfilling, fabulous life, then you are in the best space on the internet. Because if you know something about me,
that when I start something, I also kind of have a drive to do it better than everybody else. So just wait for that to happen very shortly, because that's truly how I feel about it. Although I will say we love the other pageant podcasts, but throughout my years, I've seen many pageant podcasts start and stop. And one thing about me is that I'm always going to be the one who starts. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to do it bigger and better because that's just the way that pageant gals do. So, gals, that is our first episode. If you want more guidance, preparation, and coaching on your pageant journey, the best place to start, I always say, is our Make It Rain monthly membership, which I'll link the details of that in, is it the show notes? The show notes. I'll link it below wherever you'll go find it. And then you can join us to get even more of my strategy coaching and guidance. But I promise there will be more episodes on those in the upcoming weeks. And I'm so happy to have you here. This is all about you being the queen of your life, winning and wearing crowns, building your empire, and truly leaving a legacy that you are so proud and fulfilled by. So if you are here, welcome. Welcome the first time. Welcome if it's your second time. Welcome if you've been here forever. If this is like your first time ever interacting with me, I'm already so, so grateful and so happy you are here. And I cannot wait to share so much more with you in future episodes. So I will see you in the next one, Queens.